Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Last Life Ever podcast. I'm Jillian Sidoti.
And I'm Jeffrey Holst.
And today we're doing a really special interview, and we're broadcasting it live because it is a very special interview. And I really, if you started watching, keep watching, because what you're about to hear is incredibly inspirational and quite amazing. Jeff, why don't you tell us a little bit about our next guest?
Yeah, so we have today Joshua Gordon, who's co-authored a book with a gentleman by the name of David Prentice. David is a real estate investor, Metro Detroit area, and is currently undergoing treatment for brain cancer, and he's dedicated his life to getting this book out right now. And so the book's coming out this weekend, and we'll let Josh tell us all about it, but we wanted to bring Josh on to talk about the book because the story is so inspirational and it really is going to make a big difference to your life. So we wanted to do it live, which is something we don't normally do. So we apologize in advance for all of the terrible errors we'll probably make.
Help me, my brother, can you lend me a hand as I walk through this land of confusion? If we give to each other, then there's nothing to take. Let's live life for the moment before it slips away.
Welcome back. Hey, Joshua. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Jeff. Hey, Jillian. Thank you so much for having me on. I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, and we didn't really tell anybody about you, as you could see watching the intro. So why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and why we have you on to sort of start out the show?
Sure. So my name is Josh Gordon, and I'm in Metro Detroit. I'm a father. I'm a husband, and thankfully, in this case, I'm a writer too. I had the good honor of helping write a book with one of my best friends, a man named David Prentice. And obviously we'll tell you all about that.
Great. So we really appreciate you coming on. Now, I know you said the book comes out this weekend, right?
Yep. It'll be out on Sunday.
All right. Great. Excellent. All right. So let's start with, it's great. See, look at that, Jillian having this all figured out. So the book's called Can't Doesn't Exist. And so this cover is the first time I'm seeing it, actually. I kind of like it, actually, because it says can does exist and it says can't doesn't exist. That's very clever. I love it. So tell us about that. How did you pick the name Can't Doesn't Exist?
So it's actually a really great backstory. Dave grew up with his father, for lack of a better way to put it, just smashing that into his head. It was nonstop, can't doesn't exist. If you can think it up, you can do it. And that's just everything his life. And if you look at the guy's life, that's what you watch, that's what you see that happened. I can take no credit personally for the title. It's all Glenn Prentice, so I got to give him a little shout out there. It's Dave's father. And then as far as the T and the NT, where you can versus can't and doesn't and all that, that was Dave's artwork in the beginning. And we just made it prettier.
Yeah, no, it's cool. I really like it. So, all right. So obviously we alluded to this a little bit, and there's really no, easy way to talk about this stuff, but David couldn't be here today. He's struggling, right? I'm sure he would love to have come on and talk about the book himself.
He's probably punching at the air to not be able to be on here. Yeah.
No, and I don't know him. Like I said to you off air, one of my friends has met him and says he's just a heck of a great guy. Why don't you tell us a little bit about where he's at now and what he's going through and how he got to where we are?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm going to try to give the short version, and if I get too long, you just tell me to shut my mouth. But
no worries.
2018 Father's Day, Dave had a grand mal seizure, and when they went to the hospital, they found out he had a brain tumor, 7 centimeters, so about the size of a baseball. And Yeah,
that's big.
It was size of your fist, and
yeah. No,
so,
I actually have a baseball around here somewhere, but I don't know what to do with it. I was playing with it on the air the other day.
I have a question. Was he having like serious headaches? Like, how do you not recognize something like that growing in your head? And this is where my ignorance comes in.
Yeah, no, it's not a bad question at all. So in Dave's case, he was having something called auras, and if anybody has ever suffered from them, they would know what they are. But if you didn't, you would never know. Some people with auras, they might get nothing more than a muscle twitch. Some people will have spots of light, but it was nothing that you would really know was anything unless you knew it was something. So because his tumor grew so slowly, and obviously we don't know exactly how long, but the doctors say it could have been years and years and years that it took to grow. So there was no signs, nothing that was obvious. The way he tells the story is he was standing there in the kitchen Father's Day just doing dishes, and then felt funny is the way he describes it. And he said his hand felt particularly funny. And then next thing you know, he was completely having a grand mal seizure. And
okay.
Yeah.
So let's paint this picture just for a second for everyone who's listening.
Wait, hold on one second. Let's paint the picture. But how old is Dave?
That's what I was just gonna ask.
Oh, sorry.
He's 30 now. He's 28 when this happens.
Okay, so 2 years ago, he's 28.
Mm-hmm.
Where was he in life at this point? Does he have children? What was he doing for a career?
So Dave's a real estate investor, and he was literally on top of mountains. I mean, this is a guy who lived that life that everybody dreams about. They got married, over in Europe, and it's just this dream wedding and gorgeous photos. And, on their honeymoon, he just posted a photo today of him hang gliding, over the Alps. And
I saw that. Yeah.
The guy literally, I've been friends with him for 10 years, and I always laugh looking at his life going, man, you're doing something very right. He was recently married, unfortunately, fortunately, very recently married to when this had happened. They just celebrated their 3rd anniversary just a few weeks ago. No kids. Money was good. Life was good. Everything was on track. He was on top of the world. If you asked him, he was the king of the world.
See what I mean about this being my story, Jillian? I'm like, it hurts me actually. Yeah. Wow. So a lot of our listeners know this, Josh, but I'll share this with you briefly. That's pretty much my story. Like, I was a successful bankruptcy attorney, and I got hit with leukemia when I was 30. So not all that different. And yeah. I mean, I was traveling the world and doing all kinds of fun stuff. And yeah, so I can really feel that. That's I was reading you were kind enough to share the book with me ahead of time. I was reading in the book the part where he was talking about how he perceived this, and I was like, yeah, that's exactly right. It's so surreal that it's hard to even understand what goes through someone's head when they find out they have a major life-threatening illness.
Yeah, and the funny part about Dave is that this is a man who, I guess I'll give this away. I didn't want to title the book "Can't Doesn't Exist." There's a bit of a jerk marketing guy in me that sits there and goes, well, is that the right keywords and things like that? And but in the end, it was so clearly the right thing, because here's what he says when he's asked the question of, what did you think when they told you that you had a 5% chance of making it 2 years from now? 5% at 28. And he goes, I was really annoyed. I'm like, annoyed by what? And he goes, everybody thought I was going to die. And I'm like, I'm going to beat this. What is wrong with all you people? And like, that's the man we're talking about. He doesn't have the concept that he can lose. And, we talk about in the book, especially at the end, a lot of that has to do with what he sees as winning and what he sees as losing. We all make this gigantic mistake of assuming victory in a scenario like this is coming out clean in the end. That's not what he sees as winning. And in his case, God bless him, he sees winning as fighting and living and not letting that. If it's going to be last moments, he's going to fight through every one of them.
What?
I'm going to try not to cry on your podcast.
It's okay if you do. It wouldn't be the first time. Yeah. It wouldn't even be the first time I cried on the podcast.
It wouldn't be the first time I cried either. So we'll do it together. Right. We're in
perfect.
This, I have so many questions. Jeff just been ribbing me because I always have in the middle of every interview go, I have so many questions, but I really do. He finds this out. He's he gets this information. They're like, we have to remove the tumor. And I have some pictures here that you so graciously sent to me. We got the book, but then we also have, this is him. Is this him doing yoga here?
That's him. I believe that it would be his brother-in-law right above him. I believe is his wife right above the brother-in-law. And I don't know who the woman in purple is, but there's a man holding up 3 grown human beings.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive. I don't care if I'm his trainer. I was still impressed.
That's really cool. So he just was living life to the fullest. He gets this news, and then this you had noted as testing. So he was getting tested. What was he getting tested for?
I believe that was one of the setups for the MRI. Unfortunately, we have enough of these photos that it's been a blur to me. The one I sent you, that one for, is because that's Dave. He's sitting there with all these electrodes being hooked up to his face, his chest, all these things. And he's smiling for the camera because in him, this is just, round 3.
Wow. Okay. And then, then he got the tumor removed.
Yeah, that's post-brain surgery 1.
Okay. So 1. How many surgeries did he end up having?
2. They couldn't do a 3rd one.
Okay. So he did this surgery, and this was the results of that.
Yep.
Man, holy moly. I bet he had a headache after that.
To quote him, I was completely unconscious for several days, so it didn't matter.
Oh my God, this guy doesn't stop.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So
he woke up from the first brain surgery, and he had lost some functionality on the right side of his body. Is that right?
Yeah. A little more than some, but yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm downplaying it a little bit. You were there.
Yeah.
So so he wakes up from surgery. What was his mood like then? What can you take us to that point?
Yeah. So first time I saw Dave was the Sunday following. So it was about 6 days later, and he couldn't use his right hand. He couldn't close it. He could walk on the first surgery. Not well, but he could stand and move after a few days. The big problem was thinking. He was talking very slowly. There was a lot of aphasia, just the inability to draw words out. The way he described it was actually the best way I could explain it is he wrote out I, like literally just I. And then he got FL with his left hand and he's right-handed, just to be clear. And then he put a certain word down and then wrote stupid. Just talking about the fact that he couldn't think. And I asked him, I said, can you understand everything I'm saying? And he goes, uh-huh. And I go, but you just can't communicate it? And he goes, and that's kind of where he was at. He said felt like he got beat up with a baseball bat. That was his description. And then,
it kind of looked like it. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Unfortunately, that's yeah. So okay, so that was in 2018, right? And then he started. Seems like everything I've seen, he recovered fairly quickly from that.
He had an insane recovery. It was. In June, he has the surgery, and in September, the man comes in after 1 month of being able to do heavy lifting and leg pressed 1,017 pounds. And just, again, to give you a better idea of the guy, he was supposed to do 1 rep. He got 1.5, and he was ticked off like no other because he didn't get 2. And I'm sitting there yelling at him like, Dave, you were supposed to do 1. And he's like, yeah, but I almost got 2. That's his mindset.
Yeah. So, again, I don't want to ruin the story for you. So I kind of want you just to tell us, so what happened next? Like just tell the story, take as much time as you need. And I'll let Jillian interject whatever questions she has. Cause she's going to have a lot of them.
That's what I hear. So things were great. A couple of MRIs went through and they were fabulous. Things were good. In the book, I've got a couple pictures of MRI 1, MRI 2 in the transition, and you'll see it. It's, he goes from this big mass to less and less, and everybody's really excited. He ran a 5K and won his category, which was amazing. Yeah, right. That's the right face, Jillian. That was my face. He actually beat his doctor in the race, and that was like his personal goal. So he goes, everything's going great. Him and his wife at the end of 2019, Karen, let me mention her. they plan this massive trip, this insane thing. 40 days. They're going to go to Europe. They're going to, you know, hit all of the spots. They're going to go down to South Africa. They're going to go to the South African wine country and just see everything. And everything looks like it's going great. And he's training and he's doing wonderful and feeling great. To quote him, he was living like a monk and reaping the rewards, and everything was good. And then it wasn't. So the trip was planned to be 40 days. And he ended up coming home about 5 days early because he started having seizures while he was there. And we talk a lot about it in the book and in heavy detail. So I'm gonna just for the sake of time, not go too heavy into it. But so he gets back. This was New Year's Eve. They do another brain scan. So New Year's Eve, 2019. So Dave likes to joke that you don't want to be with him on holidays because, you know, Father's Day, New Year's Eve. So he goes and they do the scan. And in the matter of a couple months, the tumor had come back strong. So they do another brain surgery.
Wait, so just to be clear, so this is the beginning of 2019 or the end of 2019?
This is 19 going into 20, the end of 2019.
All right. So it's like a year and ish after. Yeah, but about a year or so after the first surgery.
Yeah.
Something like that. A year and a half, actually.
17, 18 months, something like that. So they do the other brain surgery. They tell him that without treatment, it could be as little as 3 weeks. That was January. Well, praise God. Here we are, September 28th, and he's still around. So that's very nice. But after the second brain surgery, his right side was really bad. Walking was now a problem. Stairs were now a problem. He could go up the stairs, but he was kicking everything by accident. You know, in the book, I share a picture of his right leg because there's scars on it, just a bunch of them, just from hitting things. You know, you don't think about the little details that matter. Like, okay, I can walk, but am I going to trip on everything I walk by? So around June of this year, so just almost 4 months ago, he had a really, really, really great meeting. He had gone down to Duke because the word from everybody was that Dr. Friedman at Duke Medical was the absolute best guy in the world for this. So that's where he went. Wherever the best guy in the world was, that's where he was going to go. So he went down there, and everything looked really good. To paraphrase, I don't want to quote, but paraphrase Dr. Friedman, you're the perfect candidate to make it through something like this. You have a chance. You know, Dave was 28 years old, as you saw in the photo, very fit, very healthy, living very clean. Doesn't have most of the stressors that most people have to worry about. You know, all those problems that really get in the way of recovery. And he was doing great. So he came back from North Carolina, just pumped, excited. So he goes, and that's when we started working on his walking again. And so we fixed the walking. And when it started, you know, I told him, I said, listen, we're probably 3 to 6 months before you walk right.
Wait, I have to stop you. So this was this summer, right?
Yeah, this is 4 months ago.
And I mean, I don't know. I watched a video of him running, like actually running, like a few weeks ago, right? So so you're telling me that 4 months ago he couldn't walk.
Yeah. So
and 2 weeks ago he was running.
So not 2 weeks ago. A month ago he was running.
A month ago. Okay. Yeah. Well, I saw the video 2 weeks ago, but all right, fair enough. A month ago then.
Yeah. Well,
so a month ago.
So basically what was supposed to be 3 to 6 months by my expectation took a month. And at the end of the month, he's sitting there and he goes, okay, I want to run. Well, there's a problem when you talk about going from walking to running. You have a huge fall hazard. So when you're walking, we can be right next to the person. We can be holding them, literally. There's fall straps. There's ways to prevent the person from making a mistake and falling and injuring themselves. You can't do that with running. So there are specialty treadmills that are designed for that, but COVID has a lot of this changed. So yes, they have equipment that physical therapy labs have that, you know, you can use and make running possible, but we didn't have access to that. So he said, you can teach me. And I'm like, you're a psychopath. But he said he wanted to try, and we looked at it, and I told him we would check it out. So we tested a few things, and it looked like he could learn the movement of running. So we started him on some very, very light stuff, and he was able to do it. And in 1 month, which I thought would be 3 to 6, he went from walking to running. And so 2 months into his recovery, he was already running. And then he looked at me and he goes, I want to run the 5K. And the 5K he's talking about is the 5K he beat his doctor in, the 2 years prior, that he also ran last year. And he wanted to run it this year. That would be October 4th, this coming Sunday, that he wanted to run that 5K. And I yelled at him.
The day the book comes out.
Yeah. That's
intentional, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Because the thing is that so he wanted to run that. I called him a psychopath. I'm like, dude, I'm not letting you. And he looked at me. He goes, "You'll teach me." I'm like, Dave, because I'm, my heart. This is my friend, right? This isn't just like a client. This is like a brother to me. So we. Oh, Jillian, I can't hear you.
Sorry, I'm like talking and nothing's happening. Let's back up for a second. So I want to talk about this because we never explored this. You're his trainer, where he's like his just workout trainer, or?
Yeah, so I'm a personal trainer by trade. I do a lot of injury recovery work. I don't not say I'm not just a personal trainer, but I do a lot of more advanced stuff.
Sure. Okay, so is that how you met him, or have you known Dave for a long time? Tell us about that.
So I met Dave. That is kind of how I met him. I met him about 10 years ago when he was having a shoulder problem that wasn't really a shoulder problem. He was doing a bench press wrong. And he got sent over to me to find out what was wrong with his shoulder. And I laughed and told him nothing. And we can fix that in 2 seconds. And we did. We taught him how to bench press right.
Oh, fantastic. So you were so you were friends with him. And then he started having you guys started working together after he had the cancer to recover.
No, we started working together 10 years ago. Yeah. Okay. So this is actually quintessential Dave. And this gets to one of the lessons that he was so passionate about getting people to learn. So the short version of that story is that he comes over to me and he tells me he has a shoulder problem. And I told him, no, you don't. You bench press wrong. And I'm 155 pounds. Dave's this 200-pound Golden Gloves winning boxer. And he's this big dude. His arms are the size of my head. And he looks at me and laughs. He goes, no, I don't. So, and I look at him and go, no, you do. And we have this little back and forth. It was all very friendly and smiling. And I said, look, we'll go fix it right now. I'll show you. So we walk over to the bench press. We fix it real quickly. He puts up 275 for the first time in 6 months. He hadn't topped 150 pounds because of the shoulder pain. It was just a technique error. And, when you're that big, you can get away with a lot of error, but that's what it was. So what happened, he went and he looked at me and he goes, all right, I need to train with you. And that's where it started. So we started training. That was the beginning of it. And we trained on and off for 10 years.
That's incredible. So he just decided that, huh?
Yeah, because that's what he does. If he sees something where he wants to learn it, he just does it. It doesn't matter what's going to cost him or anything.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, and I like this about the book, and I told you because obviously we moved this up to coincide with the book launch, and so I haven't had time to read the whole book. I apologize for that, but I love this about the book that it's this ongoing theme of like I'm going to win, and like you said, defines win a little bit differently than what normal people, let's say, define win, right? Like it's I think, I mean, and I don't I don't want to ruin anything in the book, but I feel like it's more process and actually the whole entire package of becoming the person that can win that matters to him more. It seems like that's the strategy, right? Like you have to do all the things that you possibly can to win, and that's winning. End of story. Like the result is less important than the process.
Yeah, actually. So I'll give away a little section. We talk about goals a little bit in the book, and one of the things that we talk about is this crazy dichotomy that exists of what Dave's goals actually are and whether he actually ever hits them or not. So Dave follows that classic shoot for the moon, worst case you'll be among the stars type of thinking. And we were talking about his employees and like, what do you do with employees and goals? And the idea is really simple. I just need you to be the best you could possibly be, no matter what, always every way, in the ways that matter. And I don't really care about the goal. The goal is just a tool we use to drive us to be our best. It's always about, are you doing everything you can? And that's living. Right.
Yeah, and I love this hashtag, by the way, the watch Dave win. That's how I found the video of him running, right? It's like, yeah, watch Dave win. And I think you might even be almost trending now. Like there's quite a few people posting about it. So if anyone is watching this, they could share it since we're doing it live, and they could hashtag it watch Dave win, and then more people will see it. But all right, so you alluded to this. A month ago, he was running, right? And on pace to get ready for his
5K.
Yeah, his 5K. Yeah. Sorry, I was getting a little bit of feedback there and it was distracting me. I apologize. So anyway, it was on pace to run the 5K, and then what happens?
Well, all right. End of August, he's killing it. Everything was going great. He's got this crazy goal to go from literally, so mid-August, he had ran 100 feet and was dead. I mean, like out of breath. If you watch the first Watch Day Win video, I think he ran 250 feet at the end of that video, and he's practically laying on the ground, gasping for air, right? And form was good, but that's it. So when he wanted to run this, it was this really aggressive increase of distance that we had to do. Well, at the end of August, he runs 10 minutes straight. He ran just shy of 1.2 miles in that time. So he's not just running. He's running faster than most healthy adults do.
Faster than I do. I'll just tell you that right now. Like, and I'm training. Like, I'm supposed to be training. Jillian's making me. I think she wants me to die. I'm not really sure. We're doing a half marathon in
cool.
next September for Labor Day. You're welcome to join us if you want. But
that would be fun. Where are you doing it at?
Kauai. So it'll be a beautiful place to do it too.
You live. This is beautiful. I like that.
Well, we got to try to live. That's the whole thing, right? So anyway, so yeah, we're but yeah, so he's doing awesome, right?
Right. So kills it on this day.
Saw the video. It's incredible. You're driving with your car next to him. I mean, it seems like he's going super fast.
Yeah,
and his form looks. I mean, there's a little bit of a gait issue, I think, but it's pretty uniform. And it looks like he's really working at it. So then what happens?
So everything was going great, and everybody was really excited. And we were talking about the race, and we were putting out the Watch Dave Win videos, and people were getting excited because it's a freaking exciting story. Like to watch this guy go from I can't walk to I am running, and he looks at me and he's like, "We're gonna win this," and I'm like, "Dude, I hate you. You are gonna win this. Like this is awesome," and it looked great. And then I don't remember if it was September 2nd or September 5th, one of the two of them. I think it was the 2nd. We were running, and he started having a foot drop where basically his right foot wasn't lifting properly. So if you watch one of the end video, the fourth video that we put out, you can actually see his foot kind of clopping down as it's going. And that was a bad sign. And suddenly he couldn't read. So everybody kind of said, okay, we need to look at this. On the upside, downside, whatever you want to call it, they had been trying to change his medications. He was on a crazy, crazy medication pattern. And as they were trying to fix it, this all coincided. So our first thought was that it was probably all the medication changes. But then he went down, had another scan done. And when they did the other scan, they found that the tumor had spiderwebbed through his brain. So that changed the whole conversation. And
that sounds bad.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no look. I'm assuming they can't do surgery because you said there was no third surgery, right?
Right.
So now he's can't read. Can't. I'm assuming he can't run. Also, part of that, right?
No, actually, hold on. Let me tell you this.
Yeah.
So he gets back from North Carolina after going to Duke for the MRI and the consultation. They give him some pretty bad news about timeline information. They want to put him on a more aggressive chemo and all these things. And we're at this, we're praying our hearts out type of time. And I go and I'm at his house, and I love the guy. He's sitting there like he can stand up and walk around like it's Tuesday or something. And he goes, "I'll be fine." And I'm looking at it, I'm like, all right. And he wants to do the race still. I'm like, dude, you're on like your 10th round of chemo. You can barely stand up, and you're talking about running the race. And we're talking, and we're making comments like, dude, I'll tie you to my hip and we'll walk it. I mean, but he's like, I want to do it. It doesn't matter. To be honest, I don't know that we'll be able to. He's probably punching a wall right now because he's listening. He's probably very mad at me for saying that. I'm willing to bet he will prove me wrong. He might crawl the race. I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, we'll watch that video if he does. We will for sure. And we definitely hope he can. I mean,
yeah, thank you.
Yeah, look, this stuff, it's tough. It's tough. Mortality stuff is really bad. Yeah. It's really hard. But if anyone can do it, it seems like he's the guy that's going to do it, right? So,
well, let's fast forward to he wanted to write a book.
Yeah.
Right? Let's talk about that, because that's what we're here to talk about, right? Is the book. Like, how do you decide? I mean, when did he decide to start writing the book?
So it was a multi-step process. The first thing was on the first diagnosis, when he was told that life probably has a time limit unless he's right and all of the doctors are wrong, which is what we all want. He basically sat there and said, all right, well, so I've made a lot of money. I live this great life and I figure out how to do it. But Dave came from, very little. He's got a backstory that does not include a silver spoon in his mouth. And, we talk about it in the book, but it's
actually,
not like
you say maybe doesn't even have a spoon in his mouth. Right? Yeah. That's what you say in the book, which I thought was really clever.
Yeah. Thank you. It was, he came from some hard times. Dave's a high school dropout, right? I mean, he's not just some guy who went to Yale and, made money. He's a high school dropout turned millionaire, which I can't personally brag on him enough for the fact that he turned what he calls a stupid, fat, lazy stoner, to quote him about himself, into what he's turned himself into. And all on that same philosophy that doesn't exist. So
right. Well, I think, right. Not only going from a high school dropout to a millionaire, but from 100 pounds overweight to super fit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's, if that was the whole story, that'd be enough really to write a book about it, right?
The guy has four stories in one life. And that's the thing. There's this very weird part of me that laughs a little bit at the idea of Dave dying, because he might be 30, but he's lived 120 years. He's done so much. He's been in more countries than I've been in states, probably. That's a great photo of him. I mean, that gives you an idea, right? So that was during the first hospital stay.
Yeah, and you described this in the book too, right? Coming in and having him work like he's just working, because that's what
he had a foam roller with him. A foam roller, which, just for anybody who doesn't know what that is, it's a device you use to help with flexibility. So here he is going in for a surgery where they say you might come out paralyzed, and he's worried about whether his quads stretch out enough. And that's Dave.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So the book comes out on Sunday.
Yep.
And everybody can expect to get it. Tell us what the writing process has been like, though, because it has to be difficult, because one of the reasons why he's not here is because he's having a hard time articulating, correct?
Yeah. So thankfully it wasn't when we were getting everything together. When everything was coming together, he was great. He was sound mind and body, and just progressing wonderfully. Really, it wasn't until the very beginning of September that anything was, even evident that there was anything wrong. So when we put the book together, the short summary was that he had started out with an idea, and that idea wasn't working. He had hired a ghostwriter, it didn't work. He had hired another ghostwriter, it didn't work. And we were talking, him and I, because I've written some other books, and he asked if we would sit and talk about it. And in the course of it, we both came to the realization that the problem was that the book didn't really blend that well. He's got such an amazing story. So to leave it as a success book, it missed what such a great life is, that people need to hear about this. Like, I mean this. This is my friend, but my life has been made better because of this man. Other people's lives have been made better because of this man. This is the type of guy that, if he dies today, he's made more impact than most people will in 120 years. So I'm sitting there yelling at him. I'm like, Dave, it's your story. Your story is what people need to know. Yes, your success principles need to be known because, good Lord, they've helped me a ton. Like I'm very happy that I've learned the success principles that he's espousing in this book. But beyond that, the story was what it was. So we got together to put the book together because we realized, we agreed that that's what needed to happen. He didn't really want to make himself the centerpiece of it. I'm like, you can't. You are the centerpiece of it. So when we were doing it, we did it in an interview format. I sat down and I asked him all the questions that I thought everybody, you, me, and Bob would want to know about how he got there, what he came from, what he learned, all these things. And it was actually very simple. Thankfully, we sat down. We did about 8 to 10 hours worth of interview time, and then we put it into a book.
Oh wow!
So that must have been different for you, right? Because you've known him at this point for nearly a decade, right? Yeah. And now you're asking him questions. I'm sure some of which you already know the answer to, right? Because you have to get the information in his own words to the ultimate reader.
Yeah.
And I really like this about the book too, by the way. I can't go, I mean, again, I haven't finished it, so maybe it ends terribly. I don't know, but I'm assuming it doesn't, right? I'll let you know when I get done. But you start out and it's almost conversational. It's like, what do we want the book to be about? That's how we start the book. It starts by talking about what the book's going to be about.
Right.
And then it just sort of moves from there to these success principles. There's really no other way. Rules, right? I mean, he's got these rules that he thinks are, and they're so simple and so obviously correct. It's unbelievable.
Well, the intro to the book where we're talking about what the book's going to be about, very meta, I guess. What it really was we spent probably more time talking about how on earth this could make sense as one book than we did anything else. Because I was telling him, like, Dave, this is 2 books. You cannot, like, how are you going to appeal to cancer survivers and real estate investors at the same time? It doesn't make any sense.
I'd buy that book.
Right. Jeff, we have 1 book. It's $7,000.
Yeah.
It's up to you.
It's super cheap, by the way. You're selling it for like $13, right? Something like that.
This isn't about profit.
Yeah. And you really do. I mean, I want to, before we wrap up, which we'll do here, and we have about 5 or 10 minutes left. I want to be really clear. The reason that we got you on now, before the book's out, is that you want everyone to buy it on Sunday.
Specifically at 2 p.m. if we can.
At 2 p.m. on Sunday. 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday.
Right.
Like, that's the thing. Because put
it in your calendars, everybody.
Yeah,
put it.
2 p.m.
Tell Alexa, tell Google, tell Siri. Remind me to buy this on. This, I'll do it right now. Alexa, remind me to buy doesn't exist on Amazon on Sunday at 11 a.m.
2 p.m.
Oh, I'm in.
Oh, you're California.
Yeah. She did the conversion for everyone else.
Bravo. Yeah. Nice job, Jillian.
Yeah. No, and by the way, it's really important. I mean, there's an actual reason to do this, and that is the goal is to get on the bestseller list for Amazon, and they update these hourly, right? And so buying it right at a specific time can really make a huge difference. And you guys laid that out really, really well in an email, which is how I sort of found out about your story. Someone forwarded it to me and said, you really got to talk to these guys. It's really important. And I agree, by the way. I think the story needs to be told. It's really, really good information. It's also very inspiring. And it's really important that people see it. And the best way to get people to see anything is to get on the bestseller list. Because once that happens, it sort of takes on a life of its own. It's something that, it's no different than when you released a book in the olden days and you wanted to be on the New York Times bestseller list. It's the same thing. People buy books on Amazon now. They don't go to Barnes & Noble and buy them. I mean, maybe some people still do, but, and hopefully someday, we'll all be able to wander around bookstores again and enjoy ourselves, but I'm not optimistic about that day coming anytime soon. So,
yeah, it's, for us, it's 2 things. For me, I have a very selfish goal here. I want Dave to see his name on the bestseller list. If God doesn't give us a miracle before it's too late. This wasn't supposed to be released until December. There was, rounds of editing that would have made a few little changes. There's no typos we're aware of or anything like that, but there's little modifications that would have happened. There's cleanup of certain font designs and silly stuff that most people don't care about.
Well, but Jillian and I know how that goes because we rushed a book out earlier this year.
Then you know exactly what I'm talking about. So, but for me, the reason why I want to get this on the bestseller list is so that Dave can see it. And the reason why Dave wants to see it is because, he literally spent every waking moment that he could to make this thing happen. Because to quote him, if I go out, I'm going out with a bang. I'm not gonna just give up on this. And he wants to make the world a better place. This is his way of doing it.
I think that's the most powerful part. I mean, like you have this, you put this in the beginning of the book in the intro about how the reason that he wanted to write this book is to help people, period. End of story, full stop. That's it, to help people. That's, and that seems exactly like the Dave that I've been hearing about from you and from my mutual friends that I have with him. That he's just a guy that wants to help people. And I think seeing his name on a bestseller list, it's gonna know he can know that he's making an impact. It's just another way to make an impact. And I think that's amazing. And obviously I wish that he could be here. I wish that he had more time to.
He wishes he could be.
Yeah, I'm sure of that. I've no doubt about it. And when he recovers, he's welcome back on the show to talk about that.
We will do it
for book number 2 or whatever, right? So it's just such an inspiring story. Is there anything else that you want to share with us? Like, the floor is yours. We're not going to cut you off. You have as much time as you want with us right now. Well, within reason. At some point we have to sleep.
We're not doing a world record for who can podcast the longest. Sorry.
No, because we would have to get the Guinness people to watch it first,
I'm with you. If I don't eventually spend some time with my daughter, I'd be a bad dad too. So I won't take too long. First off, thank you guys for having me on, having us on. It means the world to get this out, and I can't thank both of you enough, particularly for rushing it and getting us in. My compliments to you, for all the viewers out here. You guys don't realize this, but they moved heaven and earth and made things happen, and I think Jeff shoved something.
Well, you had to show up too, right? Like, you had to show up too. Like, in fairness, I didn't give you a lot of warning because we were like, "Can you do it right now?"
Yeah, but I appreciate it. It's okay. So, no, you know what? The writing of this book changed my life. Now, let me just clarify that I have a really good life. I actually wrote a book on happiness. I mean, that should give you some idea. I have a good life. I've got a great family. I've got a great career.
I'm going to buy that book too, by the way.
You'll enjoy it, I hope. Things are good and strong in my life, and I learned things from him that made him better in significant ways. And I honestly, if you had told me that you could make my life much better, I'd have been surprised. And it was just awesome. So thank you guys for helping us get that word out.
Oh, our pleasure.
Yeah, and to anybody who gets it and reads it, put it to work, and my goodness, you're going to have a good life. You're going to enjoy it. Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern time. Help me get Dave on that bestsellers list.
Yeah, and we'll make sure to try to remember to post about it right shortly before that again. But would encourage people right now to, especially people in our network, in our group, but everyone, make a note like Jillian did. Tell Alexa, tell Google, whatever you use. Even if you're an Apple person, tell that whatever that crazy Siri. Apple person is.
Yeah,
the one that I refuse to say out loud. No, I'm sure Apple's great. If Apple wants to sponsor the show, I'll get an iPhone. I'm going to tell you that right now. If Apple wants to sponsor the show, I will get an iPhone. I probably won't use it, but I'll have one.
You'll use it for Instagram only.
I will. I hear they're great for Instagram. So.
Good paperweight.
Yeah, I'm sure there's something useful about them. But anyway, all kidding aside, Joshua, so great to meet you in person finally. And I wish it was under much better terms, obviously. We'll be keeping an eye out on Sunday to see if you make the bestseller list and also to see how the race goes. So hopefully we have a miracle between now and then, and he's able to do what he needs to do to accomplish that goal as well.
Awesome. Thank you. I look forward to talking again.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely do that. I'm gonna stay in touch. I have some stuff I need to share with you for sure, actually, that I'll share off the air because I think you're gonna really enjoy it. But anyway, I hope that that you make every one of your dreams come true, and I think we need to buy your book on happiness too, so people can find. What's your book called? The Happiness Book.
The How To of Happy.
How To of Happy by Joshua Gordon. I'm getting that one too. Maybe we'll have you come back on and talk about
that one. Yeah,
because happiness is something that we actually
it's elusive.
Really, it's something that a lot of our viewers know this, but the whole reason that Jillian and I do Last Life Ever is to help people live the best possible version of their life, right? And a big part of that is contentment and happiness.
Yeah.
And I am and I don't know what you say in your book, but I'm a very firm believer that you are happy no matter what happens to you. You have to be happy now. If you're not happy now, you're never going to be happy. Like tomorrow never comes. It's just a series of nows, right? A whole bunch of todays. Jillian, yes, I know I'm feeling from your book again. Jillian's a big fan of this terrible book by Eckhart Tolle. Who, by the way, Eckhart, if you want to come on the show, go ahead. Maybe you can convince me.
Terrible, and then say, "Oh,
I don't." He's got no. It gives him
himself.
It gives him incentive to come on and debate the merits of his book.
I'm really sure he doesn't need to do that, but
I feel like he's a big fan of the show.
Elon Musk.
Yeah, this is a reoccurring thing. All those people.
Bill Gates, Mother Teresa, even though she's in the
Mother Teresa does not watch our show. I don't think. All right, listen. Seriously though, I want to say one thing before we go to our final tagline, Jillian. Dave, since you're watching, I want you to know we're all pulling for you.
Yeah.
Seriously, I really, 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 really want you to be successful in everything you do.
Don't make me cry. Don't do that.
Okay, I'll try not to.
All right.
Josh, is there anything else you want to share? Are we good?
No, just thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. My name is Jeffrey Holst. That's Jillian Sidoti. This was Joshua Gordon. And we want to remind you what, Jillian?
To live the best version of your last life ever. Please stick around while Jeff and I wrap up the show.
Go! Are we wrapping up the show now?
This is why we don't do live shows anymore.
I know. This is exactly why we don't, because this happens every single time. Josh, since you're hanging out backstage, you can leave if you want. You're welcome to stay and watch. It's up to you. No worries. Anyway, so Jillian, that was amazing.
No, it was awesome. I'm so glad that happened. And, we actually, I'm so grateful for the turn of events of today, because I would have felt awful if we didn't do that.
I know. And
I know it's not about me, but I'll put it a better way. I'm so glad we were able to do that. And, I know we always make a joke about how many viewers we have of the show, but even if just 100 to 500 of you watch the show,
or 2,000 to 3,000 of the people that watch the show, if since we know that Jeff Bezos is a big fan of the show, as we've covered before, maybe he can do his magic on the Amazon side and get him on the bestseller list for us. So Jeff, if you're watching,
and if
you're watching after the show in the comments, Elon Musk could just buy a bunch of copies of the book.
And he should just retweet it, and
that would probably be enough. Yeah.
Some people that I do follow on Instagram, Sarah Blakely. Jeffy, Jeff,
you follow me? You follow me on Instagram? I have thousands of followers, so that's pretty cool.
I'm going to send it out to Grant Cardone. I'm going to make them all.
Yeah, you should definitely get Grant to do it. He's your buddy, right? Kind of.
Friends.
Well, you know him.
Yeah.
Sort of. I've seen pictures of you with him.
Yeah. Well.
And Richard Branson. We forgot about him. Richard Branson.
I hang out
with friends with him too. I've seen a picture of you with him also.
So I'll get him. I'll get them all to get it out to their. No, cool. I'm gonna actually try Now that
you
I've
should
mentioned
work
them
on
in this
that.
video, I'm going to
Yeah.
get this out. So we got to get Kate to help us out, and then we're going to retweet out.
That's right. We'll get the
Instagram
final
and
version
Facebook.
of the
Yeah.
video done as soon as possible. And seriously, if you guys are still watching, we really, really appreciate you sticking around for the after comments. Normally we stick around for a while, we tell jokes, we just waste time. I don't really think we need to do that today. This is too serious.
I would rather not.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it. So I will just tell you that if you're still watching, we appreciate it. And definitely don't forget 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday, this Sunday, October 4th. Is that right? October 4th? Did I get that right? I think so.
Yes.
We want you to buy this book. You got the picture of the book?
I do. It's October. Yeah, it's October 4th. No, I have it right here.
Yeah. Okay. So
There we go.
the book is Can't. Go ahead. Can't doesn't exist.
Can't doesn't exist.
Right.
So yes, it doesn't.
And yeah, it just doesn't exist. I love that, by the way, because but it's more than just a mindset book. Like I was saying, I've read a big chunk of it now. I'm gonna read the rest tonight. Actually, it's captivating stuff. But and you guys have to wait until Sunday. You can't read it yet. You have to wait. Sorry. I'll let you know. I'll have it done before Sunday, and I'm going to buy it. By the way, Jillian, even though I already have it, I'm going to buy a physical copy of the book on Sunday, October 4th at 2 p.m.
I'm going to buy a couple of them, and I'm going to pass them out. So
that seems like a great strategy.
By the way, everybody, I'm not passing one out to you.
That's right. No, she's passing them out to people that don't know her, because that makes way more sense and haven't heard of our show.
Right. So Can't doesn't exist. Why Cancer Can't Beat Me, and How You Can Be Anything That You Want to Be by David Prentice and Joshua Gordon. Available on Amazon on Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern. For those of you on the West Coast, that's 11 a.m. Pacific. Please buy the book. It is so important for you to buy this book.
Also, just to be super clear, we get nothing for this.
Like,
we don't want. We want you guys to know we're not being paid to sell this book. I promise. We're just doing it because it's the right thing to do.
We didn't even get paid for the book we wrote.
It's true. It's true. If you haven't bought our book, that one's available now on Amazon.
I mean, that would be good stuff if we actually got paid for a book. But
yeah, well, you know, one of these days we might. But maybe we can do an affiliate link for the happiness book when we get Josh on next time. So
we did make this. We did make this exciting and fun. Like that was, we did make it light. Without.
Oh, and by the way, I want to. We've got some comments here. This one in particular, I just want to share. I agree. Josh did an excellent job, way better than Jillian and I. So thank you for that, Jason. We appreciate that. But Josh is still here. We'll just bring him back. What do you think? Did you do better than us?
No, not in the slightest. I actually I paid Jason $250 to come on.
So he's
it was the money I was going to pay you for selling the books.
Oh, well, that's okay. We didn't want the money anyway. We don't know how to make money. We never make money. Last Life Ever is a losing enterprise. That's how it works.
No, it's not. It's a winning enterprise because we're changing lives.
It's not about money is the thing. That's really that's the truth right there, actually. And I agree with Emily. Buy the book. See, Emily.
2 p.m. And Eastern time.
Yeah,
I'm just going to point out and brag for a second. Do you see how beautiful that woman is?
Oh, I know.
Is that your wife?
And that little girl with her.
Oh, I actually thought, by the way, that might actually be them. I was just guessing. I'm guessing this is also a friend of yours. No, I'm just kidding.
I have no clue who that is.
No, it's mine. Actually, we know who that is. That's Coach Tim. He's a Last Lifer. So he's in our Last Life Ever group. So maybe you'll get to know him. But anyway, Josh, seriously, thanks again. We're going to wrap up. It's been a great pleasure having you here. And let us know if there's anything else we can do. Thank you so much. Go ahead, Jillian, take it out.
All right, everybody. So this is Jillian and Jeff, and we want to remind you to remember to live the best version of your last life ever.